Okay, so in this video, I wanted to explain the beautiful practice sheets that I've put together for you, and it's going to show up on the screen because it's a lot easier for you to see it on the screen, but that's what it looks like on paper. Now, on these practice sheets, you're going to have all the lessons, all the different lessons, right? So you'll have the first 5 on the first sheet, and then from 6 to 10 on the next sheet, and so it goes, right? So as you're doing each lesson, you can mark off your practice. So I've created another sheet that will also show up on your screen, but just for now it looks like that, right? And there's different ways that you can mark off your practice. You can mark it off with a cross, you can mark it off with a tick, or you can mark it off with a star. And now it's going to show up on your screen so that I can talk to you about it. So every time you sit down to practice, whatever lesson it is that you're working on, you mark it off. You choose one thing to mark it off with. You either mark it off with a cross, and you always use a cross, okay, to mark it off. Or you tick it off to say it's done on your sheet. So every time you've done a practice, there will be a tick. Okay, just pick one and stick to that one. So you either have all crosses, or all ticks, or all stars, or whatever other shape you want to make. You might have special little stickers. Every time you do a practice, you might want to put a sticker down. I find it a lot easier just to put a cross or a tick, because otherwise you're going to waste a lot of stickers going through these sheets. Now, you'll see on the sheets, okay, on the sheet that's on the screen at the moment, that I've put 6 crosses or 6 ticks or 6 stars. Now, you don't have to do that many, but I would not do any less than 4, okay, for each box that you have to get through. There's 1, 2, 3, there's 5 boxes for each lesson. At the end of those 5 boxes, I need there to be at least 20 practices. So if you do 4 in each box, by the time you get to the last box, you'll have 20. 6 is perfect because by the time you get to the bottom, you'll have 30 practices. Now, I've created these sheets especially for those who don't know how to write the date. So instead of having to tell mum or dad, you know, can you please put the date or figure out what the date is, and it just wastes time for them, I think, if they're busy. So you don't need to do that. All you have to do is print out the sheet, which is going to show up now blank on the screen, the first sheet that we had. Print that out, and then every time you practice, you mark it off that you've practiced, okay? When you get at least 4 ticks or crosses in each box, move on to the next box and then the next box. Now, another thing that's important with these sheets is that you don't have to complete, okay, if you're going through here, and I'm going to put this one back on the screen, on with the ticks and crosses. You don't have to complete all of lesson 1 and have the 30 crosses there before you move on to lesson 2. It doesn't work that way. You might be only on the second box for lesson 1 when you start lesson 2. And so it goes. So you'll have some boxes going for lesson 1, some boxes going for lesson 2, some boxes going for lesson 3, because you're meant to keep practicing your songs while you learn new songs. Right? You don't just play it for 1 week and we're done. It's finished. The songs don't work that way. You need to practice them a few weeks before they're finished. So your lesson 1, you might only be up to the second box with your ticks and crosses when you start with lesson 2, and that's how it's supposed to work, okay? And then you might be on box 4 for lesson 1, box 2 for lesson 2, and you're starting lesson 3. That's how it's supposed to work, okay? You're supposed to have lots of different lines going at the same time. So you're still meant to be practicing lesson 1 by the time you get to lesson 4. You should still be working on your ticks and crosses, okay? So that's normal. That's what we're supposed to be doing, all right? So in a little bit, I'm just going to show you on the piano what I expect a practice looks like, because you don't just play it once and go, okay, I'm done. That's it. That's the practice. No, that's not how practice works. Practice means that you do it a few times, and by the time you finished it, it's a little bit better than when you started. Okay? So we'll look at that on the piano so we're all sure what practice looks like. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first song in the book just to give you an idea of what practice looks like. It's called The Two Black Cats, and you may not have learnt it yet. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be putting this video up before you do any of that because it's to explain how to use the practice sheet. So I'm learning 2 black cats, right? And one of the lessons tells me that I need to practice doing 3, 2, and a long 3. Now, if that's all I do, that is not practice. Playing it once is not practice, right? Practice is when you sit and you play it 3, 2, and a long 3. And you have a break and then you try again. 3, 2, and a long 3. And you try it a few times because I'll show you how to do it on the white keys as well. 3, 2, and a long 3. And then we do it again. 3, 2, and a long 3. And maybe try again on the black keys. 3, 2, and a long 3. 3, 2, and a long 3. 3, 2, and a long 3. So you play it until it feels better, okay? Say you're learning the keys, right? We're learning the cat, dog, and elephant. Now, if you say, oh, I'm going to look for a dog, and that was it. That's not practice, right? Practice means that 2 black keys, there's my dog. 2 black keys, there's my dog. 2 black keys, there's my dog. You do it at least 3 or 4 or 5 times, as many times as you can, right? There's my cat, there's my cat, there's my cat, and then we'll go down. There's my cat, 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 and then I'll do the elephants. There's my elephant, because you've probably done the cat, dog, elephants by now. You find them at least 4 or 5 times. You practice the same thing at least 4 or 5 times. Tick. That's a practice. I'm happy with that, okay? As long as you've done it at least 4 or 5 times and it feels better, then we're done. I'm happy with that, okay? That's what practice looks like. Not just, oh, there's my dog, I'm done. Right? That's not practice. That's just done, right? You're just trying to do it because you've got to do it. It's like, oh, done. No, that's not practice. Practice means that you do it a few times. You look for it a few times, right? And dog on the way back. Right? You've done it at least 5 or 6 times. Good. I've got the dog now. That's practice. All right? So when you practice, you sit and you do it a few times. And it should feel better by the end of it. You should know it better by the end of it. Okay? That practice. Now, practice is not I sit at the piano and play it once. A practice is to sit for at least 5 or 10 minutes and really concentrate on playing it properly, right? Whatever it is, whatever that lesson is that you're working on. And sometimes that might mean that you play the song 3 or 4 times, and that's fine, okay? That's fine. That's what a practice is, all right? But